What is going on, Panther? We are back talking about the Pittsburgh Panthers' road loss to the North Carolina Tar Heels this past Saturday. Now, I don't know if I've talked about this extensively, but I really do not like when Pitt runs side pick and rolls around the break. I just don't feel like they generate a lot of points. Most of the time, teams find a way to force the ball handler to the baseline, using the baseline as additional defender, and they're able to string out the ball handler that way with nowhere to go. So the only options are really kind of throw this like jump pass back to the big, who usually flares out kind of right inside the three-point line, which there's not a lot of times much they can do there because at that point another defender is going to come over and tag, or they end up turning the ball over. So just not really a lot of productivity in those situations. I got a couple sequences here from this past game. We're going to take a look at why. So diving in, you're going to see Cam Corrin is going to run this side pick and roll here with Brandon Cummings. Now, North Carolina, their biggest defensive blueprint against pick and roll was drop. And so if Brandon Cummings attacks into this drop, the baseline is going to be additional defender. And there's just very few things he can do. He could try to make a bounce pass all the way to a wide open Jalen Lowe, but that's going to require going two defenders here. That's going to be unlikely. And he's going to get kind of squeezed here to the point where making this pass to Corrin is also going to be a gamble. RJ Davis could jump that. Seth Trimble is right here. But you see there's three open players. Now maybe Damian Dunn should kind of crash into this area and Corrin can seal in Trimble. That's a possibility. But really, this entire defense is loaded up to stopping this. So this is going to be very difficult to do much. Cummings chooses to reset. And they just run it again. And I just really do not like how unproductive these are. And now this time, he's going to drive into the drop. Not the worst scenario, but now we have a pull-up jumper off the bounce. And again, there is a wide open low here on this play, but it's just a difficult pass to make. Brandon Cummings, I think he's going to be a good player at some point, but it's hard to imagine a true freshman whose minutes have been inconsistent making this play. And miss jumper. Now we're going to see a little bit in the first half here, the sequence that does work. And this is going to be a situation where they run this side pick and roll here with Ishmael Leggett. But Ishmael Leggett attacks into the drop, a little bit more room here, so not exactly at the break, which is where these are bad, but more along the wing area. And because he attacks into this drop, it opens up better angles. So one, the defense can't pack quite as much, but you can see here that Ian Jackson can't come down at this moment to tag onto Corrin. So Corrin is able to receive this. Now the defense was packed against this action, and Corrin makes a really good read out here to the corner to the open Lowe, who knocks down a three. And Corrin has shown that he's like a reasonable connector in that way, and he processes those types of things relatively quickly. So it's a really good use of Corrin. It's much better spacing, and it's having an action go to the basket as opposed to getting strung out to the baseline. So Pitt did a pretty good job in general, kind of forming better attack angles here. I also think that drop ball coverage is like the worst pick and roll defense you can run against Pitt because of how aggressive their guards are and how they love to attack into that sink rate. Here you go. Again, end of the first half, Damian Dunn. Really good job here attacking into this sink, getting two defenders to fully commit for throwing this pass back to Guillermo Diaz-Graham, who hits a three. So I think the reason I do not like those side pick and rolls around the break is because they really just can't establish really strong attack angles. There's no advantage creation when basically the other team is forcing you along the baseline. And I think Pitt found a better way to create more advantageous angles. And they took advantage of that, primarily attacking to the sink of the drop coverage. And I think that's something you could see going forward. Again, drop coverage is really bad to play against Pitt, so I wonder how many teams are going to do that consistently. But if they do, I think Pitt has a pretty good plan. Obviously, they lost by 1 point here, so a couple makes here or there could have been the difference. But I think they did a relatively good job against this ball screen defense.